It's Scott, West Virginia. You're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Fine, how are you?
I'm glad to hear that. Hey, I'm sorry. I was flipping through the Sirius channels here, and I heard you say some things that I guess sort of surprised me a little bit. The gap in wealth in the United States right now is about the highest it's been since the late 1920s when we had the Gilded Age and the stock market crash. Don't you really think that maybe one of the solutions to some of our problems would be to distribute some of that wealth a bit more downward?
No, because it's not mine to redistribute.
But it was socially created.
No, it's not socially created. What is social? What do you mean socially created? And there are people in this country who earn so much money that they blow the bell curve. In other words, when you have artists and entertainers who make $100 million a year, you can't compare them to somebody making $250.
Okay. Now, I won't argue that point. But socially created, by that I mean, for example, say you buy a piece of land, and then the government builds a road that goes past that piece of land, and you've done nothing to that land, nothing to develop it. But now suddenly, because that land takes on more value simply because of its location near the exit on the highway, that is socially created value. You have gained something from that without having...
But wait a second. Scott, you're saying that if my wealth increases because the government didn't consult me, just decided to build a road, I am now in debt to the government for the added value of my property?
No, you're in debt to society. The society that has elected that government and has helped create that wealth.
But wait, so Scott, that is.
Go ahead.
I'm not waiting for your approval to speak, sir. You're dealing in such a narrow, anecdotal type of situation against the hundreds of millions of ways people earn money in today's modern economy that you're talking about the government building a road and oh my God, now my piece of land is worth more. Now I've fallen into debt.
Okay.
See, here's the problem, Scott. You've described what I like to argue about when I talk about the origin of debt. You're saying that because I own a piece of land and I have taken no action, I have done nothing. You just said I didn't develop it. The government now has increased the value of my land and created debt for me to some social workings that you've now described. Can you tell me, Scott, what the origin of debt is?
No, at least not offhand.
Oh, come on. I mean, you called you were flipping the channel. Scott, let me tell you what happened here. You were flipping the channels and you heard what you thought was a really dumb conservative, and you thought you'd pick up the phone and teach me a thing or two about society and wealth and obligation. So in essence, I just want to learn from your intelligence, what is the origin of debt?
What is the origin of wealth? Is it better?
No, not the origin of wealth. What is the origin of debt? Government doesn't create wealth, it creates debt. Government consumes wealth, it doesn't create it. You tell me, since you're, obviously smarter than me, tell me what the origin of debt is.
The government ends up redistributing that.
Scott, I'm asking you a basic question. I'm asking you a basic question. If you can't answer it, I'm going to move on to another caller. Can you please...
Please.
Okay, goodbye. This is not a Christmas story. I'm not going to stick my tongue to the cold post because you triple dog dare me. You dare me to hang up on you, I will. The government doesn't create wealth, it consumes it. And if it does create wealth only to consume it, what was the point of acting like I had anything to gain or lose? If the government puts a road next to my land and my land is now more valuable, and then the government says, "Ooh, you owe me more," why should I be excited? I'm not wealthy if you're going to consume that wealth from me. Again, but I did nothing. It's funny. You will not find a liberal who can articulate the origin of debt. Because then that is to fully acknowledge that there's only There's only a couple of ways debt can occur. When you're dealing with what is debt artificially manufactured, you now have wealth redistribution. You have confiscation. You have artificial debt. By the way, the country's not broke. You are. If you're a taxpayer, you're broke. You're not broke today. I mean, you might have a house, you might have a car, you might be saying, Andrew, I got money in the bank, I got a statement, I got my wallet, I can see I got cash, I can... When I say the taxpayer is broke, the taxpayer... Here, I'll pull out my Constitution. Hope Scott's still listening. Maybe he'll learn a thing or two. When you hear the government back its actions by the full faith and credit of the United States, who pays the bills of the United States? The taxpayer. If 47% of working people aren't paying any taxes to the federal government, then they're not taxpayers. They're not the ones the government is confiscating wealth from. Now, they'll be affected by it. And this is the funny thing. You could look at somebody, you could sit down with somebody who's a zero liability voter. You could buy them a cup of coffee. Oh, here's my Capitalism's Boss coffee mug. So how did that work out for you? You earned $35,000 and you had withholding, but at the end of the day, you actually have $42,000. How did that happen? Oh, you got a making work pay credit, and you got a child tax credit, and you were able to get a brand new Chevrolet with cash for clunkers. Wow, that's great. Do you know that in all aspects of the rest of your life, that consumer pricing is affected by the taxes consumed by government? Oh, you didn't know that. You didn't know that a gallon of gas is affected by government. A gallon of milk is affected by government. Loaf of bread is affected by government. The consumer pricing is always affected by government. You just thought that the government was being swell to you because you earned $35,000. But after all was said and done, after you got $1,000 making work pay credit, $1,000 child credit, and $5,000 off your automobile, that you ended up with $42,000, not $35,000. Wow, that's gee. Oh! You notice that the pump prices are up? Yeah, that's that government. So that $7,000 that you just got back from government is going to be eaten up by the fact that you're paying almost $4 for it. Here's the worst part. You cannot get somebody to see that. If somebody gets $7,000 from the government, they think the government is swell. If over the next 365 days, the government reconsumes that $7,000 through gas taxes, that very same person will never, ever acknowledge. The government gave you $7,000, raised your gas taxes, and then reconsumed that $7,000. So you know where you're right back to? $35,000! But Scott, please lecture us all about the government who makes us wealthy because it builds roads next to our land.